Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk for a quick moment about the interview that the singer Mario did with Cam Newton on Cam Newton's podcast. And I'm pretty much am going to focus on just the part about Mario speaking about interracial dating as it pertains to him and his black female fan base. So, for those of you who don't know, the singer Mario is in a relationship with a non-black woman. He says that she is Mexican. Based on her phenotype, it looks like she is definitely a more European white-leaning Mexican with perhaps maybe 25% Mexican Indian, indigenous Mexican of some kind. And he also makes the point to emphasize the fact that, she's not white. And a big part of why I think that Mario is even addressing this is because he knows, as well as his team knows, that he has a large black female fan base. And if you notice, in situations like these, where a black male celebrity is dating or is married to a non-black female, the black male celebrity oftentimes may feel the need to address the situation. And a lot of times I think it's just coming more so from, oh, I want to appease my black female fan base just enough so that they don't withdraw their support. Because a lot of times outside of situations like this, it's pretty much F your feelings. And Mario, he's just the latest to do this. A while ago, the actor Taye Diggs did something similar as well. Even low key, the rapper Jeezy did something like this, but more subtle with Jeezy though. So in my personal opinion, I think that when it comes to black male entertainers, whether they be singers, actors, rappers who have black female fan bases, like strong black female fan bases, those celebrities oftentimes feel the need to justify their choice in girlfriend, wife, or baby mama, because they don't want to lose that support, because they know that black black female fan base is like a core part of their fan base. But notice something though. Notice something. And I bring this up because I know it's going to be somebody out there saying, no, that's not true. And it may not be true for every single person, but I do think that it applies to a lot. But what I want to bring up is that notice when it comes to the athletes, notice how they aren't so quick to do interviews addressing their choice in girlfriend, wife, baby mama, etc. Notice that. And even think about it. And even if they do address it, it's oftentimes in a disparaging way towards black women. I mean, wasn't Shannon Sharp quoted as saying something to the effect of, oh, it's a nightmare to date in the black community or something like that? And also see what he's going through right now, though. The exact quote is, people would rather you be miserable with someone of your own race than you being loved from someone of a different race. In considering where Shannon Sharp comes from, like where he was raised at, the city, the town, the community he was raised in, and what I believe he even talked about going through as a child, in the deep, 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 deep South, you would think he wouldn't be so quick to be a multiculturalist. And I do find it strange, a bit of a rant here, but I do find it strange that a lot of the pro-black men, in the media who have the mic, right? A lot of the pro-black men are pro-black until it comes to dating your own, marrying your own, having children, and having a family with your own. And this is just more about Shannon Sharp versus the singer Mario. I'm not sure if he has a history of being pro-black on the record, pro-black in public. But I can imagine, the singer Mario being a pro-black multiculturalist. But again, when it comes to the athletes, they don't feel the need to justify their dating choices, and they even will be malicious in their dating choices or their reasons for not dating within the black community. And the reason that is, at least in part, is because black women and girls do not make up the core of their fan base. Thus, black women and girls are not the hands that feed them. So they can bite those hands. Metaphorically speaking, of course. So they can bite those hands without worrying about anything. Until they get caught up in some mess and they need some support from the community. The community. Yeah. Didn't that happen recently? Well, not recently. It's been a minute. But didn't that happen with former NBA player Steven Jackson and his friend George Floyd? Steven Jackson, he was on record as saying, bitter black women are the demise of black men, even worse than police and all the media dragging. But when that whole situation with George Floyd happened, he had to eat those words. But you notice, though, he never really had to address those statements and apologize for those statements. And black women still came to the defense of his friend George Floyd. And also what helped, I think, is that they included Breonna Taylor in the protest along with Ahmaud Arbery. That's one of the tricks that they play for the black female support. They know who to come to when they need something done. They know who to come to when they need some help, when they need somebody to hold them down. Now they know who to run to then. But let me bring this back to Mario and the interview that he did with Cam Newton. Cam Newton and Mario also talked about Mario's relationship with his mother and also his grandmother. And for those of you who may not know, the singer Mario had a strained relationship with his mother due to his mother's substance abuse problem. And he ended up being raised more so by his grandmother. And I feel like there was some, or at least a little bit of alluding to maybe Mario choosing the woman that he chose because in part of his strained relationship with his black mom. And I'll say that trauma does affect people differently. Different people experience trauma differently or process trauma differently. So perhaps that is a reason, but I also do think it is somewhat of a cop-out just because, there are many black women who experience trauma at the hands of black men, but who don't discard all black men. And even I know some black men personally who have experienced some trauma with their mothers and who did not end up being interracial daters. So I do think it's somewhat of a cop out, but I'm going to hold space, I'm going to hold a little bit of space for both the black men and the black women who have gone through something like that with their black parent. But I know some of you may be thinking, well, this all seems a little bit random, like this whole situation. Why is Mario talking about this now? Why is this coming up right now? And I think most likely the reason is because not too long ago, Mario just released new music. And who do you expect, or who do you think is going to be one of the top consumers of that music? Most likely, black women and girls. Just like when Jeezy released his book, who do you think is going to be buying that book the most? Probably black women and girls. Just like Taye Diggs, back when he was popping, who do you think was supporting Taye Diggs in his movies and what else he was doing back then? Primarily black women and girls. It was not Jewish women. It was not Vietnamese women or Asian women in Jeezy's case. And in Mario's case, it's not Mexican or Latinas. I don't think Mexican and other Latinas are really checking for Mario like that. Not being shady, I'm just saying. Now, I'm sure he probably has some, like a little bit here, a little bit there when it comes to, a Latina fan base. Perhaps. But they ain't gonna show up and show out like black women will. Also, by the way, in Mario's situation, if this woman is so amazing and incredible, why is she a baby mama instead of a wife? I'm thinking that she would be your baby mama. My bad. I'm thinking that she would be his wife versus his baby mama. But that's how it goes these days, though. I think that's the trend right now. It's been going on for a while. Marriage, oh, that's too much. But having kids together, oh yeah, that's enough. Even though marriages can be annulled or just end in divorce, you can't really do that so much with kids. I mean, people still do it. That's a part of where the deadbeat dad stereotype situation comes from. For all races of men. But still, with the child, with the kid, that is a biological link, a familial link, and also a legal link. At least for 18 years. And even still after 18 years, when it comes to like inheritance and stuff, the child is one of the people who can receive the inheritance in the absence of a will. But all that is another video for another day. I'm going to bring this video to a close, though. So thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to leave your comments and let me know what you think about this whole situation. And we'll meet again in the next video. Until then, adios and goodbye for now.